The Galactic Council had existed for over 10,000 years. It included more than 300 species from across the stars. These aliens had mastered the art of bringing new species into their group. They had rules for everything: how to talk to new species, how to share cultures, and how to make newcomers follow their laws. When they found Earth and saw humans were close to developing faster than light travel, they decided to make contact. They sent Ambassador Zix Vorel from the Centaurian Dominion. The tall, blue-skinned diplomat came with 12 massive ships that positioned themselves high above Earth. The ships were meant to show both strength and peaceful intentions. Jack Harper got the message in his office at the United Earth Space Agency headquarters in Colorado. He was the newly appointed director of the agency. The alien message came translated into every major language on Earth. It explained the Council's history and structure and invited humans to join as new members who would be on probation. "They're offering us technology, protection, and trade routes," said Olivia Martinez as she looked over the message. Olivia was the agency's top expert in alien languages. "But they want to limit our military and how we use resources." Harper nodded as he read the terms. The Council wanted Earth to get rid of 80% of its nuclear weapons. They also wanted regular inspections of Earth facilities and limits on how humans could expand into space. This probation period would last 100 years. "They've given us 72 hours to respond," said William Chen, who advised Harper on strategy. "The President has called an emergency meeting at the United Nations." While world leaders argued about what to do, Dr. Samantha Wells found something worrying. As head of the department that studied alien cultures, she had been examining the historical documents the aliens provided. "Sir," she said, walking into Harper's office late that night, "I found something concerning about what happened to other species that said no to the Council." The UN meeting was chaotic. Representatives from 196 nations couldn't agree on what to do about the alien offer. "This is the greatest opportunity in human history," said the French ambassador. "Their medical technology alone could end all disease on Earth." "It's just colonialism with a smile," argued the Nigerian representative. "They want us to give up our freedom to make our own decisions." In a secure room underneath the UN building, Dr. Wells showed her findings to a small group of world leaders and scientists. "Species that refuse to join get isolated," she explained, showing data from the Council's own historical records. "The Council cuts them off from trade and scientific knowledge. In some cases, their colonies suffer mysterious accidents." Harper studied the evidence carefully. "So this isn't really a choice at all?" "No," Wells confirmed. "It's a threat disguised as an invitation." Across the world, people reacted strongly to the news of alien contact. Some celebrated in the streets, believing this was the beginning of a wonderful new era. Others protested, fearing alien control over human affairs. Military forces everywhere went on high alert, though everyone knew Earth's weapons would be useless against the visitors' advanced technology. Up in orbit, Ambassador Zix Vorel waited patiently aboard the flagship Celestial Harmony. The Centaurian had overseen 17 other species joining the Council. Some needed more convincing than others, but none had ever completely refused in the end. "The humans are particularly divided," Zix Vorel said to Subcommander Grell. "Their political system is inefficient." "Should we give them more time?" asked Grell. "No. Pressure makes decisions clearer," the ambassador replied. "They will make the sensible choice." "This is the greatest opportunity in human history," declared the French ambassador. "Access to their medical technology alone could eliminate disease on Earth." "It's colonialism with a smile," countered the Nigerian representative. "They're demanding we surrender our sovereignty." In a secure room beneath the UN building, Dr. Wells presented her findings to a small group of world leaders and scientists. "Species that decline membership are systematically isolated," she explained, displaying data recovered from the Council's historical archives. "Trade restrictions, scientific embargoes, and in some cases, mysterious accidents befall their colonies." Harper studied the evidence. "So it's not really a choice?" "No," Wells confirmed. It's an ultimatum disguised as an invitation. Across the globe, citizens took to the streets, some celebrating the dawn of a new era, others protesting against alien influence. Military units worldwide were placed on high alert, though everyone knew Earth's defenses would be meaningless against the visitors' technology. In orbit, Ambassador Zix waited patiently aboard the flagship Celestial Harmony. The Centaurian had overseen the integration of 17 species into the Council, and while some required more persuasion than others, none had ultimately refused. "The humans are particularly fractious," Zix remarked to Sub-Commander Grell. "Their political structure is inefficient." "Should we extend the deadline?" asked Grell. "No. Pressure creates clarity," the ambassador replied. "They will make the rational choice." While global debates continued, a small team led by Dr. Wells and military intelligence officer Major Eric Jackson worked frantically to analyze the Council's database. "There's something they're not telling us about Earth," Jackson said, reviewing astronomical data the aliens had provided. "They've been observing us for centuries, but there's special interest in our solar system that predates human civilization." Wells nodded. "I've noticed discrepancies in their xenobiological classifications. They've categorized Earth as a Type 7 preservation world, but then reclassified it to a standard integration candidate only recently. Their breakthrough came from geological physicist Dr. Natalie Cooper, who had been analyzing the Council's materials science database. "It's not about us," she said, entering the room with tablet in hand. "It's about what's beneath us." Cooper displayed a complex molecular structure. "This element doesn't appear on our periodic table. According to their database, it's called novium. It's incredibly rare in the galaxy, with unique properties that make it essential for their most advanced faster-than-light technology." "And Earth has it?" Harper asked. "Earth's core contains the largest known deposit in the explored galaxy," Cooper replied. "They've known this for thousands of years, but couldn't access it without destroying the planet. They've been waiting for us to develop to a point where they could harvest it through us." Jackson's face darkened. "So their offer of technology and protection is designed to control our mining operations and funnel novium to them," Wells finished. "We wouldn't be members. We'd be a resource extraction colony." The revelation spread quickly among key global leaders. Secret meetings were held in capitals around the world. The Chinese premier contacted the American president directly, bypassing normal diplomatic channels. "If this information is accurate, we must form a united front," he said. For the first time in decades, nations that were usually rivals began working together. Russian scientists shared their analysis with American counterparts. European and African diplomats drafted joint strategies. Harper's team worked around the clock, searching for any advantage in the Council's vast database. They found references to other species who had faced similar situations. Some had vanished completely from the records after their first contact. "We have 48 hours left," Harper told his exhausted team. "Find me something we can use against them." While global debates continued, a small team led by Dr. Wells and military intelligence officer Major Eric Jackson worked frantically to analyze the Council's database. "There's something they're not telling us about Earth," Jackson said, reviewing astronomical data the aliens had provided. "They've been observing us for centuries, but there's special interest in our solar system that predates human civilization." Wells nodded. "I've noticed discrepancies in their xenobiological classifications. They've categorized Earth as a Type 7 preservation world, but then reclassified it to a standard integration candidate only recently. Their breakthrough came from geological physicist Dr. Natalie Cooper, who had been analyzing the Council's materials science database. "It's not about us," she said, entering the room with tablet in hand. "It's about what's beneath us." Cooper displayed a complex molecular structure. "This element doesn't appear on our periodic table. According to their database, it's called novium. It's incredibly rare in the galaxy, with unique properties that make it essential for their most advanced faster-than-light technology." "And Earth has it?" Harper asked. Earth's core contains the largest known deposit in the explored galaxy, Cooper replied. They've known this for thousands of years, but couldn't access it without destroying the planet. They'd been waiting for us to develop to a point where they could harvest it through us. Jackson's face darkened. So their offer of technology and protection is designed to control our mining operations and funnel novium to them. Wells finished. We wouldn't be members. We'd be a resource extraction colony. Harper immediately called an emergency meeting with key global leaders. The room was tense as Cooper explained her findings. We've confirmed this through 3 different parts of their database, she said. Earth is unique not because of our biology or culture, but because of what's in our planet's core. Can we extract this novium ourselves? Asked the Russian president. Not with our current technology, Cooper replied. It requires equipment far beyond what we possess. The Council would provide that technology, but under their strict control. And they've done this before? Asked the German chancellor. Wells stepped forward. We found records of at least 7 other planets with significant novium deposits. In each case, the native species was brought into the Council, and their planet's resources were harvested within 200 years. What happened to those species afterward? Asked India's Prime Minister. Wells hesitated. Their populations declined dramatically. Once the novium was gone, the Council's interest faded. Their worlds were left depleted. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Harper cleared his throat. There's more. We believe they've placed monitoring devices throughout our solar system. They've been watching us for thousands of years, waiting for the right moment. Like farmers waiting for crops to ripen, muttered the Brazilian president. Exactly, Harper nodded. But this gives us leverage. They want the novium badly, but they can't simply take it by force without destroying it in the process. The Chinese premier leaned forward. Can we use this knowledge to negotiate better terms? Possibly, Harper replied. But we need to be careful. If they realize we know about the novium, they might change their approach entirely. Outside the meeting room, protests continued in cities worldwide. News channels showed split screens of alien ships hovering above Earth alongside footage of demonstrations. Some protesters carried signs welcoming the aliens, while others demanded resistance. With just 36 hours remaining before the deadline, Harper's team made another discovery. I found something in their communication protocols, said Olivia Martinez, rushing into Harper's office. A loophole in their diplomatic procedures that might buy us time. Harper studied the document she handed him. Slowly, a plan began to form in his mind. Get me the president, he said. I think I know how we can respond to the Council in a way they won't expect. With less than 24 hours remaining before the Council's deadline, world leaders gathered in an unprecedented closed session. The revelation about novium had shifted the conversation dramatically. President Eleanor Mitchell of the United States spoke first. We now understand the Council's true intentions. They don't want allies. They want miners. But can we afford to refuse them? Asked Chancellor Dieter Schmidt of the European Federation. Their technological superiority is overwhelming. Harper presented the findings from his team. Dr. Wells has identified 12 species that initially resisted Council membership. 3 eventually joined under additional pressure. 9 disappeared from the historical record entirely. The room fell silent. So this is an extinction-level threat, said Prime Minister Hiroshi Tanaka of Japan. Potentially, Harper acknowledged. But there might be another way. He nodded to Dr. Cooper, who stepped forward with a complex simulation. The Council needs novium, but they can't risk destroying Earth to get it. That gives us leverage. They want us compliant, not extinct. What are you suggesting? Mitchell asked. A response that buys us time, Harper said. Not acceptance, not refusal, but something unexpected. Harper turned to Olivia Martinez, who pulled up a diagram of the Council's diplomatic protocols on the large screen. The Council has specific procedures for handling new species, Martinez explained. They expect either acceptance or refusal. Their protocols don't account for other responses. What about requesting more time? Asked the Indian Prime Minister. They would see that as weakness, Wells replied. Previous species that asked for extensions were subjected to increased pressure. The Brazilian president leaned forward. So we need a third option that follows their rules but doesn't give them what they want. Exactly, Harper said. And we found it. Martinez highlighted a section of the Council's diplomatic code. According to their own rules, any formal response must be acknowledged and processed. They pride themselves on respecting diplomatic protocols. But what response could possibly help us? Asked the South African president. Harper smiled slightly. One word. A word that neither accepts nor rejects their terms, but forces them into a position they haven't faced before. For the next several hours, an unprecedented collaborative effort united linguists, game theorists, military strategists, and cultural anthropologists from around the world. They analyzed the Council's communications, diplomatic history, and cultural frameworks, searching for a response that would disrupt the visitors' careful calculations. As the deadline approached, the debate intensified. It must be ambiguous enough to create confusion, but clear enough to demand a response, said Dr. Wells. And it must buy us time without appearing hostile, added the Chinese premier. Harper stood at the center of the room, listening to the arguments. Finally, he raised his hand for silence. We've analyzed every option. We need a response that acknowledges their communication, but reframes the situation on our terms. He wrote a single word on the electronic board at the front of the room. The assembled leaders stared at it. That's it, asked Chancellor Schmidt. Just one word. Just one word, Harper confirmed. But it changes everything about their carefully planned scenario. President Mitchell studied the word. Slowly, she nodded. It's perfect. Neither yes nor no. It acknowledges their power without surrendering to it. Will it work? Asked Prime Minister Tanaka. We can't be certain, Harper admitted. But based on our analysis of their psychology and diplomatic history, this gives us our best chance. The vote that followed was unanimous. Perhaps the first truly global consensus in human history. Earth had its answer for the Galactic Council. As the deadline approached, Ambassador Zixvorl received notification that a human representative wished to deliver Earth's response in person. This was unusual. Most species simply transmitted their acceptance, but not unprecedented. Prepare the reception chamber, the ambassador instructed, and activate the neural compliance field. Subtly, we want them comfortable but suggestible. Harper was chosen to deliver humanity's response. As his shuttle docked with the celestial harmony, he rehearsed the carefully crafted message in his mind. A single word that Earth's finest minds had selected after analyzing everything they knew about council psychology and diplomatic protocols. The reception chamber was impressive. A vast, circular room with walls that seemed to shimmer between states of matter. 24 alien dignitaries lined the approach to Ambassador Zixvorl's elevated podium. Harper noted the subtle variations in their physiologies. Some bipedal, others with multiple limbs or floating appendages, but all watching him with what he interpreted as confident expectation. Director Harper, Zixvorl's voice was melodious, amplified by the chamber. We welcome you aboard the Celestial Harmony. You bring humanity's response to the Council's generous invitation. Harper felt a strange pressure at the edges of his consciousness. The neural compliance field, no doubt. He activated the counterfield device hidden in his jacket, developed based on technology gleaned from the Council's own database. I do, Ambassador, Harper replied, his voice steady. After careful consideration of your generous offer, Earth's United Nations have instructed me to deliver our response. The assembled dignitaries leaned forward slightly. In 10,000 years, no species had ever rejected membership once formal contact had been established. Harper cleared his throat and delivered humanity's reply. A single word. Negotiate. The silence that followed was deafening. Harper could feel the tension in the room rise dramatically. Zixvorl's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of confusion according to the files Dr. Wells had compiled on Centaurian body language. "I don't understand," the ambassador finally said. "The terms we presented are standard. They are not open to negotiation." Harper maintained his composure. "And yet, that is humanity's response. We wish to negotiate." Murmurs broke out among the alien dignitaries. Some spoke in languages Harper's translator couldn't process, while others made sounds that seemed more like musical notes than words. "This is highly irregular," said a tall, insect-like creature to Zixporal's right. "No species has ever responded this way." "We are aware of that," Harper replied calmly. "Humans often take unexpected approaches to new situations." Zixporal leaned forward. "Director Harper, perhaps you misunderstand. The Council's offer is generous as presented. All new species receive the same terms." "We understand the terms perfectly," Harper said. "We simply believe they could be improved to better serve both our interests." "Both our interests?" The ambassador's voice held a note of surprise. "Yes. For example, the restrictions on deep Earth mining operations would prevent us from accessing resources that could benefit the wider galactic community." At the mention of deep Earth mining, Harper noticed several diplomats exchange glances. Some placed hands or appendages on communication devices at their sides. "I see," Zixporal said slowly. "You have studied our database thoroughly." "We have," Harper confirmed, "just as you have studied us for centuries." The chamber grew very quiet. Harper could almost feel the calculations happening behind the ambassador's four eyes. "Your response will need to be considered by the full council," Zixporal finally said. "This is unprecedented." "We understand," Harper nodded. "Humanity is prepared to wait for your deliberations. In the meantime, we propose a temporary non-interference agreement until negotiations can begin." "You are full of surprises, Director Harper," the ambassador said, their voice now carefully neutral. Harper smiled slightly. "Ambassador, you haven't seen anything yet." The silence that followed was absolute. Harper watched as the ambassador's four eyes blinked in rapid succession, a sign of profound surprise in Centaurian physiology, according to their briefing materials. When Zixporal finally spoke, their voice had lost its melodious quality. "I do not understand. The terms are not negotiable. They are standard for all probationary members." "And yet," Harper replied, "we wish to negotiate them." Murmurs spread through the chamber as diplomats communicated with each other in their native tongues. Harper remained perfectly still, knowing that his next words would be crucial. "Humanity acknowledges the Council's extensive history and wisdom," he continued, "but our species has its own unique needs and contributions. We believe modifications to the standard agreement would benefit both parties." "This is unprecedented," said a tall, insectoid diplomat to Zixporal's right. "Precisely," Harper nodded. "And we believe unprecedented situations call for innovative solutions." The psychological assessment team had predicted this response. By neither accepting nor rejecting, but instead proposing negotiation, humanity had placed the Council in an unexpected diplomatic position. Their protocols didn't account for this middle path. "You must understand," Zixporal regained their composure, "that the Council has established these terms based on millennia of experience integrating new species." "We respect that experience," Harper replied, "and we're eager to learn from it. However, we've identified several provisions that would prevent us from being valuable Council members. For instance, the restrictions on our deep Earth mining operations would limit our ability to develop resources that could benefit the wider galactic community." At the mention of deep Earth mining, Harper noticed several diplomats exchange glances. The bait had been taken. "You presume much," said a diplomat with translucent skin and glowing internal organs. "The Council has functioned perfectly for 10,000 years. And perhaps that is precisely why some fresh perspective might be valuable," Harper suggested. "Systems that never change eventually become rigid and vulnerable." Back on Earth, Dr. Wells and her team watched the exchange through Harper's hidden camera. The feed occasionally flickered due to interference from the alien ship systems. "They're confused," Wells observed. "This wasn't in their playbook." "Look at the blue one on the left," said Major Jackson. "They're trying to contact someone outside the chamber." Indeed, one of the diplomats was discreetly speaking into a small device. Harper noticed too, and knew he needed to press his advantage before the council could regroup. "Ambassador," Harper addressed Zix-Vorel directly, "humanity values cooperation and mutual benefit. We believe the council does as well. So let us find terms that truly reflect those values." The ambassador seemed to be considering this when a new alien entered the chamber. This one moved with authority, its silver skin reflecting the chamber's lights. The newcomer whispered something to Zix-Vorel. "Director Harper," the ambassador said after a moment, "your unusual request will need to be considered by the full council. This may take some time." "We understand," Harper nodded. "Humanity is patient." In the meantime, the silver-skinned newcomer spoke, its voice deeper than Zix-Vorel's. "The council's ships will remain in orbit. No action will be taken for or against Earth until a decision is reached." "That is acceptable," Harper replied. "We propose a mutual non-interference agreement during deliberations." This too seemed to surprise the aliens, but after a brief consultation, they agreed. As Harper's shuttle returned to Earth, he allowed himself a small smile. Phase 1 of humanity's plan had succeeded. They had bought time, the most precious resource of all. 3 Earth months later, the Galactic Council convened an extraordinary session, the first in over 2,000 years. The topic, the humanity question. On Earth, preparations continued. Using the time bought by their unexpected response, humanity had accelerated defense projects, established backup colonies on Mars and Europa, and developed contingency plans for various scenarios. The Council's initial shock had given way to intense debate. Some factions argued for immediate military action to secure Earth's nogium deposits. Others recognized the diplomatic quandary. Forced extraction would violate the Council's founding principles and potentially fracture their carefully maintained coalition. A third faction, led surprisingly by the ancient Thraxi Cooperative, silicon-based entities known for their long view of galactic politics, proposed actually negotiating with humans as requested. "The species has shown unexpected diplomatic sophistication," argued Elder Thraxi Enxilada before the full council. Their response reveals understanding of leverage and negotiation principles that typically take new species centuries to grasp. Ambassador Zix-Vorel had been recalled and replaced by Grand Diplomat Ishomal of the Arcturian Confederation, known for handling complex negotiations. When Ishomal's delegation returned to Earth, they arrived not with demands, but with a genuine willingness to discuss terms. Humanity, they had realized, knew about the Novium, and knew that the Council knew. Director Harper led the human delegation in Geneva, supported by diplomats and experts from across Earth. "We propose a phased integration into the Council," Harper began, "with mutual technology exchange, shared defense protocols, and a cooperative Novium development program that prioritizes environmental protection of Earth while providing the Council with the resources it needs." The negotiations lasted 17 days. When they concluded, both sides had achieved something unprecedented, a membership agreement unlike any in Council history. Earth would join not as a probationary member, but as a collaborative partner, a new designation created specifically for this situation. In private, Ishomal confided to their deputy, "In 10,000 years, no species has ever responded to first contact by saying negotiate. The humans didn't accept, didn't refuse, didn't cower, and didn't threaten. They simply changed the rules of the game." "Are we making a mistake?" the deputy asked. "Perhaps." Ishomal's inner eyelids flickered in amusement. "But I suspect the Council will be better for it. Any organization that cannot adapt after 10,000 years probably deserves to be renegotiated." On Earth, as the final documents were signed, Harper gazed up at the stars visible through the Geneva Council chamber's glass dome. Just one word, Olivia Martinez said, standing beside him. Who would have thought negotiate could change the course of galactic history? Harper smiled. It wasn't the word itself. It was what it represented. Humanity's refusal to be categorized as either compliant or defiant. We created a third option. So what happens now? She asked. Now, Harper replied, we take our place among the stars. Not as subjects, not as rebels, but as equals. And that, I think, will make all the difference. Under the new agreement, Earth would gradually receive advanced technology while providing carefully extracted novium to the Council. The extraction would be done using methods that protected Earth's environment and would be spread over centuries instead of decades. More importantly, humans would have representatives on the Council with full voting rights from the beginning, not after 100 years of probation. They underestimated us, Dr. Wells said during the celebration that followed the signing. They thought we would either bow to their power or react with fear and hostility. Instead, we showed them something they hadn't seen in 10,000 years, Harper replied. A new way of thinking. As the Council ships prepared to depart Earth orbit, leaving behind only a small diplomatic vessel, Harper received a private message from HFY. Your species will change the Galactic Council. The message read, some fear this. Others, like myself, believe it is long overdue. The universe is too vast for any system to remain unchanged forever. Perhaps that is the true gift humanity brings to the stars. Not just novium, but the courage to negotiate a better future for all. 5 years after Earth's historic agreement with the Galactic Council, humanity had made remarkable progress. The first joint Human Council Novium extraction facility had begun operations in the deep Pacific Ocean Trench. It used technology that could safely reach toward Earth's core without causing harm to the planet. Jack Harper had been appointed as Earth's first permanent representative to the Galactic Council. He now lived on Centauri Prime, the massive space station that served as the Council's headquarters. His office overlooked the Great Council Chamber, where representatives from 300 species debated galactic matters. Ambassador Harper, the Rigelian delegation requests your support on the colonial expansion vote, said his assistant, Kyle Bennett. Kyle had been one of Dr. Wells' researchers during first contact and now served as Harper's chief of staff. Tell them I'll meet with them tomorrow, Harper replied. And what about the Technology Exchange Committee? Dr. Cooper says the Council scientists are finally sharing the faster-than-light designs we requested. She thinks we'll have our first human-built FTL ship within 2 years. Harper nodded with satisfaction. The relationship with the Council remained complex, but Earth had earned respect through steady diplomacy and careful negotiation. Back on Earth, humanity was transforming. Council medical technology had eliminated most diseases. Clean energy systems had replaced fossil fuels. The first human colony ships were preparing to leave for nearby star systems, using Council-approved routes. Not everyone was happy with these changes. A small but vocal Earth First movement protested against alien influence. They claimed humans were giving away too much novium for too little in return. Dr. Samantha Wells now headed the United Earth Contact Agency, which managed all interactions with non-Council alien species. Her team had made contact with 3 previously unknown civilizations in nearby systems that the Council had overlooked. The Council isn't perfect, she explained to a group of university students. They missed these civilizations because they didn't fit their standard development patterns. This is why our perspective is valuable to them. The most significant change had occurred within the Council itself. Earth's negotiate approach had inspired other species to question the old rigid structures. 7 other member species had successfully renegotiated their own terms. One day, Harper was surprised to receive a visitor he hadn't seen in years, the former Ambassador Zixforel. You look well, Director, or should I say, Ambassador Harper, Zixforel said. Thank you. What brings you here? I thought you were assigned to the Outer Rim. I was, the Centaurian replied, but I've been called back. The Council is forming a new committee to revise our first contact protocols. They want me to lead it, with you as co-chair. Harper raised his eyebrows. Me? Why? Because of what happened with Earth. The Council has recognized that our 10,000-year-old approach may no longer serve us well. We need flexibility. Harper smiled. That single word really did change everything, didn't it? More than you know, Zixforal admitted. Some species are now using your approach in their own disputes. We wish to negotiate has become something of a catchphrase throughout the galaxy. That evening, Harper sent a message back to Earth, to Olivia Martinez, who now served as Earth's Secretary of Alien Affairs. Remember when we wondered if one word could change galactic history? He wrote. It turns out it did more than that. It's changing galactic culture. The Council is starting to value adaptability over tradition. And it all started because we refused to simply say yes or no. Martinez replied a few hours later. Perhaps that's humanity's greatest gift to the stars. Not our resources or our technology, but our stubborn insistence that there's always another way forward. One word opened a door that had been closed for 10,000 years. As Harper looked out at the stars from his Council station quarters, he thought about how far humanity had come. Not as conquerors, not as subjects, but as partners who had earned their place among the stars by simply saying, negotiate.